All right, we've got our drum kit loaded. We're going to start writing a pattern. First thing I want to mention is that we are in arranger mode here at the top. If you hold shift and hit scene, you can either write in ideas view or arranger view. For educational purposes, we're going to use arranger view at the moment because I think it makes more sense. Okay? Now, the other thing I want to mention is that remember, you can focus at the sound level, the group level. So now I'm adjusting parameters on the entire group, this specific sound, or on the master altogether. I want to take this opportunity to look at the volume. So if you hold down volume and turn, you will see your master volume being adjusted on the left screen. Keep this at 0, okay? And it might even be a good point to actually hit enter. See, you're focused on an empty slot. If I click down, I can now go ahead and add the limiter by clicking again. And what the limiter is going to do is keep you from clipping and distorting your outputs. So it might be a good spot to just have that on your master at all times. Now, let's go ahead and start recording. Before we record, I want to touch again on the settings. For instance, that quantize. If you didn't turn it on, you can turn it on now. But let's actually turn it off and see what happens. So the first thing we are going to do, I have a pattern loaded up because that's how my template starts. If I go ahead and delete that, as soon as I hit record, it's going to give me a 2-bar pattern because, again, that was my default pattern length. So let's hold shift record, which will give me a count in based on the length you've decided. And then I'm ready to record on the downbeat. 2, 3, 4. Now, it's not quantized to the 16th note grid. I can immediately hold shift and hit pad 5 to quantize it. I can also hold shift and hit pad 1 to undo. I can undo it again, and there goes my entire pattern. I can redo. I can hold shift pad 3 and step undo or step redo. So there's pretty much unlimited undo and redo. If you keep messing up, just quickly hit shift undo and get back to it. Okay? I can also quantize by 50%. This gets me about halfway to the grid, a little bit closer, but still maybe retains some feel and some natural humanized groove, if you will. Okay? What I'm going to do is just quantize that fully, and I'm going to come back in and set my record quantize on, because we just want to play in time. Okay? Now, I've created one pattern. What we're going to do next is actually duplicate this pattern to pad 2. And I do that by holding pattern and hit duplicate. Now I have the same exact pattern basically copied and pasted. Why do I do that? Well, because now on pattern 2, I want to be able to add the hi-hats. And I don't want them to affect pattern 1, which I just want a steady 4 on the floor. Okay? So let's go ahead and add some hi-hats. Now the first thing you're going to notice is those hi-hats are crazy loud. So what I would do immediately is come into the mixer, and 2 things to know about once you're in the mixer section. If I hit up on the encoder, I can adjust the entire group length, and this goes by half dB increments each click. If I come down, now I'm in at the sound level, so each individual sound I can adjust as need be. And I can adjust it from the encoder or from each individual knob. If I click on the encoder, I can get panning. And that sounds much better to me. Be very cognizant of your mixing. Be able to, kind of adjust your levels and balance as you go. That's one of the most powerful, flexible things about Maschine is I can instantly dial in my sound without ever getting in like a creative mixing mode. I can just kind of really mix on the fly, which is what I love. All right, we need to add the claps. I'm going to hold down pattern, and I'm going to hit duplicate again, and on pattern 3, we'll add the claps. I'm going to take this opportunity to hit arranger between section and pattern so you can kind of see what I'm recording here on the screen as well. Very good. While the thing is playing, I can duplicate as well. I don't have to stop to kind of talk to you in the video. All right, so I added a crash. The problem here is I don't want it to come around every 2 bars. It's a little too sudden. So what I'm going to do is hit undo. I'm going to go ahead and double this pattern from 2 bar to 4 bar. All right. If you do this and all of a sudden you can't see your entire pattern, hold down Shift Variation to get to navigate, and you can zoom in and out from the controller here or with these knobs as well. This one will go zoom in, and this will go left and right, etc. So very quick and easy to be able to do that. Also, you can zoom in and up and down on the arranger from up here. Okay. Now, let's add that crash. Let's also add a vocal sample. So now we're getting a little bit more interesting on this pattern. One thing I want to do now is actually kind of create a fill at the 4th bar, or the 4th bar, because we don't want things to be so loopy. If I hold Shift and restart, I get loop, and I can actually adjust the start point of my loop and the length of it. So now, let's just record there. And let's add some hits. That works, but I want to delete the open hi-hat in that measure. So one thing you can do is while it's playing, I can hold erase and then hold down the pad I want to erase. Now I'll go back and adjust my loop length and hear how it plays all together. Very nice. So just to retouch, we've created 4 patterns. 4 on the floor, added a hi-hat, added a snare, and then our big main pattern altogether.